At what point does research cross the line? Because a simple study on facial expressions ended up being one of the darkest psychological experiments I have ever heard about. In the 1920s, a graduate student by the name of Carney Landis decided that he wanted to see if facial expressions were universal, essentially wanting to determine if all people make the same facial expression when experiencing a certain emotion. In order to do this, he needed people to react to a range of different stimuli and snap photos of it, from joy and surprise to fear and disgust. The first thing that he needed to do was outline each of the subjects' faces with black markers so that he could clearly track everyone's muscle movements. First, the volunteers were asked to complete relatively harmless tasks, such as listening to jazz music, smelling ammonia, read a passage from the Bible, tell a lie, but the results were pretty discouraging, so Landis decided to take things way too far. He then began to show his subjects images of corn. They were then asked to stick their hands into a bucket of live frogs without looking or knowing what they were touching, and after they got past the sliminess of that, they were shocked by electrical wires at the bottom, while Landis stood there and clicked his camera. They were then shown unsettling medical imagery, including photos of people with very graphic skin conditions, but most horrifically of all, they were required to a mouse. Most of the subjects were stunned and asked him if he was joking, and he wasn't. He said that they had to do it or he threatened to do it himself. He was hoping that at this point the reactions would become more obvious, but to his dismay, the reactions became a lot more complex than he ever imagined. People don't react the same way to high-stress situations. Some people started crying, others laughed hysterically, people just froze completely, and others walked away cursing. But a startling 2/3 of the participants ended up doing exactly what he said, executing a mouse. While most of the subjects were Landis's classmates, hard to ignore the photos of the 13-year-old boy who was involved in this experiment, who just happened to be at the psych department that day as a patient. The most embarrassing part about this entire experiment is that there was nothing really noteworthy to come out of it.